we had the conditions to go long again for the continuation of an uptrend right here. So that now casts doubt on this, whether or not this is a longer term entry to go short or not. But it may just be that we are having a correction here after having that entry, and it could still fail and continue down. But in the meantime, we have a conflict, and the people who are accustomed to trading with Elliott wave and don't adjust the frequency of their charts, but they just go to a certain time frame and trade, there's so much of the time where the probability of winning is reduced to 50% because of this type of guesswork that's required when the completion of a pattern is not known. So we have a conflict here where this is a long-term entry for the end of an ABC. And then to go short, this is an entry on a little bit shorter time frame to go long for the continuation of an uptrend that could very well continue on up and take out that high, which would be a losing trade if you stayed in it. So then that reduces the probability of your success to about 50%, because now it's just a toss of a coin. It could be one or it could be the other. So if you're committed to that longer term entry, the only thing you can do is just stay in and see if it takes out your stop loss. And sit there with a risk and a probability of 50%. And you might as well flip a coin. Well, instead of doing that, if you just simply hit these little buttons at the top of your chart, you can adjust the frequency of your chart to be able to enter and exit a trade that will be profitable no matter which of those is going to happen. So what an amazing thing that is that you can do. Just by hitting a little button at the top of your charts, you can change the probability of your success from 50% up to practically 100%. Not that there's 100% success, but if either of these possibilities unfolds as expected, you would be able to get profit for either one of those, unless you had some other way of messing up and having some kind of mistake that led to a losing trade. But it greatly increases the probability of success. So here's how you can do that. You must be willing to adjust the frequency of your charts in order to do that. If you're not willing to adjust the frequency of your charts, you'd have to stick with that other option of just sitting on a 50% probability and waiting to see what happens. If you're willing to adjust the frequency of your charts, you can go down to approximately 1 hour time frame and exit a trade right here. Now you're not in that longer term short position. Another option, as some of you know, is to hedge at that point. But you could kind of do the math behind that and see if you're available to do this. This will actually, I think, be more profitable, because you're going to exit here and you're going to get the maximum amount of profit that you can get out of that piece of the market right there. And then you take that and you put it into your account, and it's done. Next step, enter a trade right here on the appropriate time frame, where this is an uptrend, even on a time frame a little bit shorter than 1 hour. Exit that trade at the top of that trend. You take that profit and you put it into your account, and it's done. No matter what happens from that point, you got the profit from that. Whether this is a longer term entry to go short or whether it's not, you took the maximum amount of profit there, you took the maximum amount of profit there. And you're still waiting to find out which of those is going to happen. You still don't know, which is the amazing thing about trading, is that knowing which of these patterns is going to happen is not what determines whether you get money. So then, on a shorter time frame, this is an uptrend. This is a correction to an uptrend. Another entry for a trade. Another uptrend. And that's going to be true whether or not this is the longer term entry that you thought it was. While you're sitting there, instead of sitting there with a 50% probability, you just traded two trends on a different time frame. You can take that profit, now you take this profit, and you still don't know which of those is going to happen. Don't need to know. It's not necessary to know. If this continues up, you don't get an exit and you stay in it and you get all that profit. If that continues the uptrend, like it looks like that's one of the probabilities. This looks like an entry. It looks exactly like an entry for the continuation of an uptrend, of this uptrend over here, which would invalidate that this is the end of a C wave and a long-term entry to go short if that happens. Okay, so there it goes. If you get into that trade, and that will be, and you do it on the appropriate time frame, it's a time frame shorter than the 1 hour, then after you're in that trade, you see what happens, and if this continues up, you don't get an exit, you just take all that profit. Now, if it does end, and you get the end of an uptrend below this high, then that could be an ABC of B type of phenomenon, and another entry to go short could be the thing to look for after that. And then after that happens, you can say, oh yeah, that was a B or 2. That was the 2 in the longer term downtrend. 1, boy, that was a big 2. Isn't that nice? And then after that happens, you can say, oh, isn't that nice? That's a big 2. But before that happens, you don't know whether it's a 2 or whether it's a continuation of the uptrend. Don't need to know in order to take that profit and to take that profit. So, as you can see, this looks like a longer-term entry to go short back here on the 4-hour range, and we still don't know. There's a lot of doubt right now as to whether that's going to be a good trade. There's a whole lot of doubt. There's a whole lot of probability that if you're staying in that trade longer term, you're going to be taken out with a loss. However, the person who exited right here has already got this profit. The person who traded this uptrend on a shorter time frame has already got that profit. And the person who trades this next uptrend on a shorter time frame is going to get that profit either way, no matter which of these possibilities is going to happen. And then after all that happens, you can find out which of those it is.